Thank you so much, my dear friend Mark. I would like also to extend my gratefulness to the organizers, and Lynn, Mark, and our dear friend Tasmin. I know this part of the hall already you had your coffee, so that you have no excuse whatsoever to sleep. Only Natalia is having coffee at the center. And my story to you is different from what you have heard before. I would like to start by making some linkages between technology and money. And then I will shed some light on the Palestinian financial resilience and leadership. We all know that wealth has moved from land ownership to owners or owning of factories, from feudalist system to capitalism. And now today, who owns the money or who has money? The ones who have money are the ones who have the data. Those who have data today are the ones who have money. Facebook is about data. Google is about data. So we have been discussing here how to manage data, how to protect data, how, and so on. The other important issue is that, in my opinion, because also speaking about technology and money and so on, the whole world that used to be divided between north and south, rich and poor, east and west and so on, today the world is divided between fast and slow. Those who are slow are poor, and those who are fast are rich. So therefore, the issue for us is how to make our communities as fast as they should be. And I come from a country that is under occupation, where Israelis have planted 921 military checkpoints. Of course, one purpose is to make us slow. It takes 4 hours to travel between Ramallah and Nablus, which is a distance of 40 kilometers. So, now, speaking about Palestine, which is a different case, where a country under occupation, we use 3 currencies. Legal tenders: Israeli shekels, Jordanian dinars, and US dollars. And this financial landscape of Palestine, it does reflect the fragmentation of the geography of Palestine. Gaza is far away from the rest of the Palestinian territories, facing serious genocide. You have all seen it in the news. More than 100,000 Palestinians have been killed, 200,000 have been injured, 251,000 houses have been destroyed between complete destruction and partial destruction. Houses leveled to earth. The whole landscape reflects also the financial landscape. Speaking about Gaza does not mean that the rest of the Palestinian territory is safe. There is incredible intensification of colonization programs. I will speak about it on Thursday. But this fragmentation does reflect also the financial landscape. Now, the Palestinian economy being under occupation has been also fragmented. Gaza, Jerusalem, West Bank is divided between Area A, Area B, Area C. Area A, we control it. Area B, we don't. Area C, fully Israeli controlled. Jerusalem is totally out of reach, a walled city. Gaza has been facing, as I said. So, a very incredible reality that the Palestinians are facing. In addition to this, the Palestinian economy has been made dependent by the fact that we are under colonial dependency. So Israel has employed mechanisms of control by military means, settler colonialism, telephone international trunk. The water balance sheet in the Palestinian territory is 800 million cubic meters, of which Israel takes 600 million cubic meters of our water. Palestinians are allowed to only consume 72 liters per person per day, while Israeli settlers, they consume 430 cubic meters per person per day. And the road system has been redesigned in a way to serve settler colonial regime. So settlers will drive from Tel Aviv all through to Jordan Valley, all along the Palestinian territories, without them feeling that they left what they call Eretz Israel. So highways have been built all through the Palestinian territories and so on. The story doesn't end here. Then let me shed some light on the financial side of the story. Because Palestine is not a sovereign state, the Israelis, they collect taxes on our behalf. So every single commodity that should be imported by Palestinian traders, it should say on the invoice, final destination West Bank and Gaza. Palestinian merchants will take the invoice to the Palestinian Minister of Finance. Palestinian Minister of Finance take every end of the month to the Israeli Minister of Finance and say, you collected money on our behalf because we don't control borders, send us our money back. So this is what they call tax clearance system. Over the last 2 years, Israel has been blocking the transfer of our own money. So now Israel is blocking 14 billion shekels that the Palestinian Authority has not been able to pay the salaries of the civil servants. One. Second, because we use Israeli shekels mainly, and you know in economics, there is something they call seigniorage. What is seigniorage? Seigniorage is the difference between the cost of printing money and the value on that piece of paper. So the cost of printing, say, $5 is equal to the cost of printing $200. So the difference is value. Who gains the difference? Is the country that does issue the currency. So at a time when we use 27 billion shekels of Israeli currency, it's the Israeli government who does benefit from this seigniorage. Now, recently, the Israelis, they said, we are not going to take our money back. So the shekels that is accumulated in the Palestinian banks, according to the Israeli-Palestinian agreement, this money should have been transferred to the Israeli Central Bank. And Palestinian banks, they have what they call corresponding banks, Israeli corresponding banks. So they send shekels to the Israeli banks and they take dollars. Now, Israel is saying, oh, we don't want to take back our money. And there is an accumulation of shekels in the Palestinian banks, a total of 15 billion shekels. And the banks are losing 14% because they had to borrow in dollars without them being able to cover the debt that has been accumulated on their accounts with the Israeli banks. Recently, the Israelis, they came and they said, Palestinian prisoners, they have bank accounts. So they ordered the Palestinian banks to close 6,512 bank accounts. So Palestinian prisoners, remember one thing, since 1967, 1 million Palestinians have been imprisoned. 1 million. Now, some of them have been imprisoned twice, 3 times, and so on. So the Israelis, they want to punish people twice or even 3 times. They put you in jail. They don't allow your family to travel. You're not allowed to work. And now, when you are released, you were punished. So when you are released, you're not allowed to have a bank account. And if you are still in jail, or you were killed by the Israelis, and you have orphans behind and a widow, Palestinian Authority is not allowed to take care of your children, even they are orphans. And the family is not allowed to open a bank account. So a person can be or is now being punished 3-4 times. He's in jail, his house was destroyed, his family is not allowed to work, and he will not be allowed to have a bank account. And if you, as a bank, continue to have a bank account, then your bank is under sanction. So therefore, the Palestinian financial landscape does reflect the Palestinian reality that we are under occupation, fully under occupation, and that mechanisms of control that Israel is employing beside infrastructure and beside water, settler colonialism, military occupation, and financial regime that has been designed to serve this structure as well. Now, and here comes when I was the prime minister, I said, what shall we do with these realities? Let's have a digital currency. So the banks don't suffer from transferring what they call excess cash that has been accumulating in the banks. Let's have 2 things. One, we created a regime of digital payments so that we make less use of cash banknotes, and then let's work on a digital currency. So I left office while we were still designing a digital Palestinian dinar. Now, having said that about the financial situation, then the other part of the intervention, which I will make it as short as possible, is about steadfastness. Because the title of our panel is Financial Resilience and Leadership. So resilience and steadfastness are 2 faces for one coin, which is about making people deep-rooted in the land. Because the whole Israeli strategy is to push as many Palestinians as possible out of their country. A forced transfer. Egypt has closed the borders. Jordan has closed the borders. Palestinians are not willing to go anywhere, even though their houses were fully and completely destroyed. But still, the issue of forced transfer is still on the agenda of the Israelis. So for us, the issue of resilience is something that's deep-rooted in the heart and the mind of every he and she Palestinian. And that is why we have been in this struggle for the last 107 years. The question of Palestine did not start in October 7, not in 67. It started in 1917, and so on. But we are determined that nowhere on earth, with all these mechanisms of control and pressure mechanisms, Palestinians, they don't like the white color. They don't like to surrender. They will not surrender, even though our flag has 4 colors, including the white one. But there are other 3 ones, which always we are proud of. Then I should mention to you also, how did we handle these sort of realities? On the issue of prisoners' payment, I said, let's rescue the commercial banks. Why don't we pay through the post office? So now we are paying through the post office. The Americans and the Israelis are saying, no, you should not pay at all. And then the Americans, they said, okay, so pay to the prisoners and the martyrs, but consider that as a social assistance, not a payment that does encourage more killing of Israelis and so on. If we pay a martyr family, the man is already dead. Do we encourage his children? If we don't take care of his children, then they will be victims of radicalism. They will fall in the hands of the Iranian Islamic Jihad, Hamas and Battikh al-Sham. So therefore, we just simply take care of these orphans. Even Yigal Amir, who killed Ishaq Rabin, he gets social benefit from the Israeli government. The Norwegian man who killed 11 people or 75 people, he gets social pension. So, the challenges that we are facing, the financial crisis and the financial problems that we are facing, they're all political. The issue is not about corruption. The issue is not about wrong policy. The issue is not about seigniorage. The issue is not about having a national currency or not having a national currency. All of this design is simply political. That Israel today is launching a war on two components: people and land, demography and geography. And they added another two layers of wars: financial and narrative. Financial and narrative. Not taking their own money, blocking our taxes, confiscating land. And today, my dear Anlin, there are 881,000 Jewish settlers who are illegally living in illegally constructed Jewish settlements on the Palestinian land. That makes 25% of the total population of the Palestinians. The whole idea of settler colonialism is to kill every possibility for two states. I'm grateful to you. You were one of the first who recognized Palestine as a state. I'm grateful to the British government and all governments who did recognize Palestine as a state. A recognition of a state of Palestine might not remove one single checkpoint, but it is a message of hope to the Palestinian people. It is a message to the Israelis that this is not disputed territory, this is not Judea and Samaria, this is not a given land by God, because God is supposed to be ours. Now they have taken God and say, we will kill you in the name of God. So God is supposed to be for the poor people. And now God is playing in the hands of colonial regimes. Now, my dear friends, I know it's difficult to speak about technical issues, only financial and other, when it comes to people who are under occupation. But this sort of mosaic of reality for people who are under oppression, most of the time things are mixed up. Financial resilience leadership. So the people, the leadership, and all of us are fighting for dignity, end of occupation, liberation, a two-state solution, a peaceful region that Israel, since October 7, has gained more land by 541 square kilometers. And the borders of Israel today are on the borders of Russia, because this includes Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Iran, and so on. So the region is as if we are standing on a moving sand. Financially, yes. Politically, yes. In terms of geography, demography, trade, finance, and at all aspects. As I all the time say that the River Jordan has more history than water. Water is an issue. Geography is an issue. But now I did shed some light for you on the financial landscape of the Palestinian reality that most of the people don't know. I hope I made myself clear, as I should have been. Thank you.